Hi, I'm Stuart from the Norfolk Honey Company, and welcome back to the office for some more beekeeping microscopy. So welcome back to this little series on microscopy for beekeepers. Today I want to just go through the two different microscopes in a little bit more depth, show you how they are put together, how light travels through them, and how we set up the high-powered microscope to get the best possible image that we can while we're looking through it. Also, what I'd like to take a look at is some books that I've got that might be of interest to you. So if you have a microscope and you're looking to take advantage of these winter months to check some of your bees and maybe take a look at some pollen samples from your hives perhaps, I've got some great books that I'd like to share with you, and hopefully we can carry on through the winter together and produce some good quality pollen slides. So this is my stereo microscope, low powered microscope or dissecting microscope. This particular one is a 20 times magnification. You can probably make out that it says 2 times here, and these are the objective lenses beneath here, and then we've got the eyepiece lenses at the top, and they're 10 times magnification. This is the microscope that I would do most of the work in preparing material for producing slides. So any dissections of honeybees, any manipulations of flowers in order to obtain the pollen from them, or any kind of manipulation of parts of flowers, anything at all you would do on the low powered microscope prior to making up the slides and then looking at the slides through the high powered microscope. So working from the base, we have this fairly heavy base at the bottom here, and then we've got the platform here with clips that you can use to hold material down, and then as you go up you have the stand here, this tubular section here, and this can be used to slide up and down to obtain coarse focus, and then you'd set that in position at a particular point to bring the object closely into focus, and then you use the fine focus knob in order to get the very best focus of the object that you're looking at. So then moving up, we've got the objective lenses here, which as I said earlier are 2 times, and then this whole section is called the head of the microscope, and then at the very top you have the eyepiece, and the eyepiece at the top can be manoeuvred so that it slides in and out, so that you can get it comfortable when you're looking through the microscope. So this is a microscope from Brunel Microscopes, and it's called a DM2, that's the model, and it's currently on their website for sale at £68, which to me seems like a really good price for a nice piece of equipment. It doesn't have any lighting on it, so you need supplementary lighting in order to see the item that you're looking at through the microscope. But this has worked really well for me, so I'm very pleased with it. It'd be nice to have a trinocular version so that I could show you what I'm looking at, but I'm going to try to set up the camera using my macro lens, so that will give you an idea as to what I'm looking at when I'm looking through the eyepiece. So that's the stereo microscope, or my dissecting microscope. So we'll pop that to one side, and then we'll get the high-powered microscope, the compound microscope, onto the worktop, and I'll run you through that. Okay, so this is my high-powered or compound microscope. It's from a company called Apex Microscopes here in the UK, and the model of this one is the Researcher. I've just checked online, and it's currently available from Apex Microscopes for around £360, but if you go onto Amazon, it's currently been reduced to £249, which is a fantastic price really. So I'll pop a link down in the description below, so that if you wanted to take a look at it, you can just link through to take a look at it. So looking at how this is set up again, we've got the standard base, the heavy part here, which basically keeps it nice and firm, power lead going into the back, and then at the front here we've got the lamp switch. This is an older version of the Researcher, so it just uses a standard lamp in there, but the new ones I believe come with an LED light source, so that's even better, because this gets quite warm and the LED is going to be a much cooler light source for you. This one doesn't have any adjustment here for brightness, but if you had one with a brightness adjuster, that you'd probably have something on the side. And then moving up, here we've got the two focus knobs. This one is the coarse focus, the large one at the top is the coarse focus, and you would position the table, the mechanical stage here, in a rough position, and then this particular knob here is the fine focus, and that just moves the stage in really small increments. Then you have the arm at the side here, so this section here is called the arm, and the piece here is where you would carry it, so a hand there and then a hand underneath to fully support it. And then, so as I mentioned, this is the stage, and if I turn it round, you can probably see the stage a little bit better. Okay, so this is the stage, and this little arm here allows you to then insert a microscope slide, and that then locks it in position so that it doesn't move around. And on the right hand side, as you would look at it, you have the mechanism for moving the stage. So this allows you to move the stage backwards and forwards, and then left and right, and that allows you to position the slide in the perfect position for you to be able to see your sample. Then we've got the objective lenses, and on this particular microscope they run, this is a 4 times, so the shorter barrel is the lower magnification, so this is a 4 times, and then you might hear it click into position, and this one's the 10 times, this one is the 40 times, and then this one, which I don't very often use, is the oil immersion lens, which is 100 times. So you've got a wide range of magnifications there that you can actually choose from, so that's quite useful. And then you have the head of the microscope here, and as I showed last week, this particular model has a grub screw at the side that allows you to take the head off, so that we can attach the camera so that you can look at what's going on. So that's quite a useful option, because it allows me to connect my camera and take photographs via my computer, and I can actually see what I'm looking at before I take the photograph, so that's great as well. And then finally at the top here, if I just turn it slightly, we've got the eyepiece with what are termed the ocular lenses, and these are 10 times, so that magnifies the objective lens by 10. So where we had the 4 times, we then in effect see a 40 times magnification of the image. And this also slides in and out so that you can position it so that it's a perfect fit for your eyes. So that again is a very good option, and it's an all-round really good microscope. I've enjoyed using it, and for the price it gives a very good image. So what I also wanted to point out is this section in here. There's a little slider here which operates the aperture diaphragm, and that's like an aperture in a camera. It allows more or less light through, and then inside here there's what's known as the condenser lens, and that moves the light through the point, if I can turn it over, in the centre here, so through the lens here, and directs the light beam up towards the lens, and that's really how the light travels through the microscope. So it comes from the lamp up through the diaphragm and into the condenser lens, through the condenser lens and through the object that you're looking at. The light then travels up through the objective lens, comes up into the head of the microscope, is then split and comes through the twin eyepieces that we have at the very top here, and that's the image that you see. And there's a trick in getting the very best image through from the lamp to where you're viewing the image, and it's known as Koehler Illumination, and I'm just going to run through that now. It is important that you know how to set up your microscope to get the very best image, and the Koehler Illumination is a very simple process that anybody can do, but that will give you the very best image that your microscope can deliver. So I'm going to show you how I do that now, and then to round off we'll just have a look at some books, and I'll pop a slide into the microscope and show you one of the slides that I made up a few years ago. So the first thing we're going to do is to pop a slide, and this one is hogweed. I don't know whether you can see that. We're going to pop that into the slide carrier here and just lock that into position, and then we turn on the light, and then I rotate the objective lenses so that the 10 times magnification objective lens, which is the yellow band, is above the slide. And then we need to just bring the slide into a central position so that we know that we've got it, so that the light is coming through the slide and into the objective lens. And then we use the coarse focus knob, and we don't actually look through the microscope at this point. We're just taking it up to a point where it's close to the objective lens, and now that's as high on the stage that it will go. So I know that I can't raise that any further and damage the slide. And to focus it, you then focus downwards. So you always focus back down rather than up towards the lens. So now that we've got it in this position, I can use the focus knobs to just bring it into focus. And then the next thing to do is to make sure that the aperture diaphragm is open so that the maximum amount of light can come through. And then following that, we use the little lever on the aperture diaphragm again to close back the diaphragm, and that will dim down the image. And then beneath the stage, this silver knurled knob actually focuses the lens, the condenser lens. So we then move the condenser lens to bring the diaphragm, the aperture diaphragm, into as good a focus as we can. And having got that into focus, we then remove the eyepiece and look through the eyepiece to see if we can see the aperture diaphragm, and then we move the lever for the aperture diaphragm just back until we can only see the merest outline of the aperture through the eyepiece, and I'll just show you what that looks like through that eyepiece. Okay, so it's kind of tricky to actually see because the exposure is so overexposed because of the light coming through, but you can see that I've just dimmed down the light and then opened it up again, and the position is just slightly forward of being fully closed. So that's now set up, and we'll take the head off and I'll show you what the image actually looks like now that I've focused it correctly, and then I'll adjust the focus and the Koehler Illumination to show you how poor the image can be if you don't focus the microscope properly. Okay, so we take the head of the microscope off, and then we use these extension tubes that fit on top of the microscope prior to the camera actually fitting the T2 mount that we've got here, which is for a Canon autofocus, which is the camera that I use. So I'm now going to switch the camera off, and the next image you'll see will be the image looking through the microscope. This is the image that we're looking at through the microscope, and these are pollen grains of hogweed that I produced. And if I just gently focus, you can see the individual pollen grains there. And what I'll do is I'll just switch to a slightly higher magnification. So the next magnification is the 40 times objective. I just wanted to go through some of the books that I've got that have helped me through my journey with microscopy. One's by the Northern Biological Supplies company, which is called Practical Microscopy, and that's really a series of leaflets that show you how to make mountants, how to mount different parts of insects, how to ring microscope slides. Some of this might not make a great deal of sense at the moment, but we'll come on to it. But that, if you can get hold of a copy, that's a really good book. This next one from the Royal Microscopical Society, again, not sure if you can get hold of a copy. It's the Microscopy Handbook 01, and it's an introduction to the optical microscope, and that's a very good booklet. In terms of pollen identification, and a book that is available now, and again I'll put links to all of the books that I can find in the description below. This one is Pollen Identification for Beekeepers by Rex Sawyer, and that's got lots and lots of images and a great section at the beginning to show you how you can identify pollen. Sticking with pollen, and a book that I absolutely love just because, and it's Dorothy Hodges, The Pollen Loads of the Honeybee, and in it there are hand-drawn plates that Dorothy Hodges has drawn over time, and in the back, in this particular issue, there are colour plates. These are raised little colour plates showing the different colours of pollen and the pollen that it's associated with. Quite a rare book. You'd be very lucky to find one, and you're looking at probably the cost of a microscope these days, but it is a fantastic book. And if you can't get hold of that book, then the pollen grain drawings of Dorothy Hodges is something that I'm pretty sure that you can get, and this has all of the diagrams from her original book, and it's an invaluable little booklet, and it saves me having to open up that rare book that I've got. And finally, moving on to the honeybee itself, The Anatomy and Dissection of the Honeybee by H.A. Dade. Now this again is an old copy. I'm not exactly sure. This copy is dated 1962, but I believe that there are copies available out there, and again I think that the updated version is available on Amazon, but I'll double check, and I'll post everything down in the description section. So that's the end of this session. Next week I'm going to take a look at all of the ancillary equipment, the stains, the microscope slides, the watch glasses, all of the tools, bits and pieces that you need to start making pollen slides, and we'll see if we can get the camera set up so that we can imitate what I see through the stereo microscope. Still searching for someone to sponsor a trinocular for me, but I haven't had any calls yet, so we'll have to make do with what we've got. Please hit the like button and share if you'd be so kind, and if this is your first time visiting, thanks for visiting, and please hit the subscribe button, because I'm going to be producing lots more videos, and hopefully by the end of the winter we'll have produced several different pollen slides and some honeybee anatomy slides, and if you're taking the BBKA microscopy assessment, then hopefully I can help you with some questions with that. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments section down below, and we'll catch up next week. Don't forget, Sunday I'll be posting my beekeeping basics video, Wednesday will be my getting started videos, and next Friday will be the microscopy video. Have a look around, check out some of my playlists, and we'll catch up next time. Thanks for watching.